How would you teach someone or try to help someone develop the mindset of open-mindedness?
Hopefully people come to those conclusions on their own.
If I want to improve strength, endurance, and mobility, do I do them at the same time or prioritize one particularly at that time? One thing you need to figure out is what's my priority? Nsima, Andrew, what was your first day of BJJ like? I went to my first class. Everything was overwhelming. I think I giggled the first time I drilled an armbar because I'm like, oh God, his elbow's by my dick. How would you guys design a day in the life if you put all your energy to get better in the gym?
Just follow your own intuition. Go to the gym when you like to go to the gym.
From Dan, he said, I injected 100 milligrams of testosterone near belly button. Should I be worried? A lot of people say don't try steroids until you've been training for 10 years and maxed out your genetics. What about older guys just getting into it?
Sounds like he already made up his mind. All right, if we're actually live, then people start asking some fucking questions. Hurry up.
So from Discord, Colton Durrett asked from Discord, and the Discord link, if you guys want to join the Discord, link's in the description. Do you battle through small injuries while doing jiu-jitsu, or do you rest until that little tear or sore shoulder is back to 100%? I've been doing jiu-jitsu almost 2 years now, but I know you have a lot more experience, so I was wondering what you've done over your career regarding small nagging injuries. Nice. Thanks, from the East Coast of Canada. Okay. So small injuries, you kind of want to like pay attention to. If you get an injury, what you should do is you should start moving that area through good ranges of motion. So let's say it's an injury in your shoulder. You should assess, okay, what hurts? Is it like when I bring my shoulder above my head? What is the range of motion that hurts? Can I move my shoulder here? Can I move my shoulder here? What happens when I add load? And then assess how much of that there is. If it's like bring your shoulder overhead, that you can slowly start doing things, loading that slowly and loading it through different ranges of motion so you can drive blood to that area. But just pay attention to that when you're rolling. And then also tell your training partners if you decide to train with that injury, because you can. You just need to tell your training partners to be careful when they get you in a certain position, like maybe a Kimura that might turn your shoulder in a certain direction, so that they don't like, you know, do submissions way too hard, and maybe so that they maybe just avoid that arm. When someone tells me they have an injury, I just kind of avoid that arm altogether. So if they say I have a left elbow or this or that, I'll keep that in mind when I'm doing things so that I don't go for a submission on their left arm or their left shoulder. And you can navigate that well. But if it's something that like really limits you from being able to roll at all, you would have to have the power just to kind of stay away for a little bit, I think, and do things in the gym instead.
Yeah, I was going to say, how many things can you do that are outside or not on the mats, right? That you can do in practice and get way better at jiu-jitsu without actually having to go to class. You can probably watch a lot of YouTube videos. You can watch instructional stuff. You could probably like mimic stuff by yourself. You can probably work out, lift weights, do cardio, you know, get on the assault bike or something like that. Something that doesn't hurt.
Exactly.
Yeah, I found myself doing a lot of drilling too. Like they're not very fun. It's very difficult to get super excited for that day when you know you're just going to go in to just drill, not even necessarily take part in class. But it did keep me attached to jiu-jitsu, and so that's kind of what I had to do for about a month almost.
Cool.
Are there some people that are able to? I mean, I realize people have different resilience levels and stuff, but are there people that like go to jiu-jitsu like 2-3 times a week and they're able to like manage it and they don't get banged up, or is it just like inevitable? You're kind of like fighting against somebody else, right?
It's not inevitable to get banged up, but if you're going 2 or 3 times a week, you got to realize you are fighting people 2 to 3 times a week. So you should be doing something outside of the gym for your off days to still allow your body to get in those positions. That's why, like, you know, doing something like just sitting on the floor and letting your body get into a few positions is going to be good, because you don't want the only time you get into those positions that you're on the mat to be when you're at jiu-jitsu, because then that's only 2 to 3 times a week when you touch those positions. And then secondly, you definitely need to be doing something in the gym outside of that to keep your body strong enough for the sport. Because again, you are fighting multiple times a week. Obviously, you can choose the type of people you roll with. So, you know, you could choose people that you know you'll be able to have safe rolls with. That's going to keep you safe, because sometimes, like, I'll go to class and I know there's someone that's really going to bring it, but I'm at a point where I don't mind if you know, up your intensity on me. I'll be able to handle that. But if you're only going 2 to 3 times a week, then you want to be mindful. This guy's always aggressive. And when he comes to jiu-jitsu, he's always he treats it like a competition. I'm not going to roll with him. And if he asks you to roll, you can say no. You don't have to say
And if there's
yes.
somebody just being a total pussy about it, and they're not putting in much effort, they're probably just not gonna. It's gonna be hard to make progress that way, right?
Yeah.
Right? So you can kind of like maybe try to avoid injury as much as you want, but if you probably need to like kick it up a notch a little bit at some point in order to have enough of a challenge to where you learn and grow.
I think so. Yeah. Everybody goes for different reasons. Some people go to jiu-jitsu just for self-confidence. It's not that they're really trying to become really good at jiu-jitsu. It's like it's a confidence thing for them. So like everyone pushes themselves at their own pace, you know?
I just love the dynamics of it. Want to roll? Nope. You said the same thing yesterday. What's wrong? Nothing.
I've had people do that to me.
Nope.
All right. Oh, there's questions in the stream now.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. You have access to it too. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Ryan Stack, how did you guys take on the mindset? And we're going to be giving away stuff here, guys. So I'll write down the names of people who asked shit, and then we'll give away some.
I'm going to give away Nsima's John Cena doll that he's had since he was 7 years old.
Aw.
Oh, maybe not.
Don't give that away.
Sorry.
You know, don't say you can give away my shit, dog.
I forgot you slept with it a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe I did. Ryan Stack, how did you guys take on the mindset of making an effort to take some value or try to learn something and apply it to your life from nearly everyone you bring on the podcast? Oh, he has a part 2 also. So let's hit that part 1 up. We have a lot of guests.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's luckily the guests talk about a wide variety of things. So we might have a guest on that gets really honest about eating vegetables. And then we figure out ways that we can incorporate vegetables. We figure out ways that we're going to, just figure out a way to eat like more plants. We've had people come on the show talking about taping the mouth shut. We've had people come on the show talking about like sleep hygiene and getting your phone out of your bed and some of these things. I don't know if any one of us is like perfect with any of these things, but these are things that we try to adopt where appropriate. I don't know how it works for you two guys, but for me, these like voices and these things are sort of in my head, almost like
schizophrenic,
almost like an old school like coach. Remember having a coach, that make you like run or do certain things. You'd kind of remember some of the things that they would say to you, mentors, things like that. And with some of the people we've had on the show, sometimes in my day-to-day, when I go to do something, I'm thinking of something that I heard either on this podcast or maybe another podcast, but the different people that were around or even just being around each other. Like I always like your idea of sometimes you'll say, well, why not just do both? Like when it comes to like flexibility and strength and endurance and all these things, you're like, why not just, people are like, I don't know about stretching and I don't know about mobility work, and, especially if you're lifting and trying to be big, and you're like, well, I don't know, why wouldn't you try to just get better at both? So there's these different things that I have heard people say on the show that I try to adopt and just bring into my everyday life. It doesn't feel like it's difficult. It doesn't really feel like it's adding a lot more strain, or because I'm adding ideas and principles, it doesn't feel like it's making things like more difficult or having a time constraint.
Mm-hmm. What was the name? Simon Hill. Simon Hill was the plant-based guy who came onto the podcast. He has a great podcast called The Proof, and he's a plant-based advocate and educator. But, the way that he goes about his diet is very different from my own and yours, et cetera. And he was talking a lot about ApoB, and I eat a lot of fat. I eat a lot of protein, but my ApoB is totally normal. But listening to him, I was like, I can put more effort into getting greens into my diet because they never do me. I don't have any adverse effects, right? Doesn't mean I'm going to go plant-based because I have my blood work and I have no adverse effects from my nutrition. So I think that what you need, the way I look at things is with what this person is talking about, I may have the ability to do certain things that they can't, but the things that they're able to do that I can't do, will that benefit me in terms of trying it out? If I don't think it'll benefit me at all, I'll listen, I'll understand, and I'll just let it pass by. It doesn't mean I have to take on everything, because he asked, like, how do you guys take on everything? We don't take on everything, but we really try to figure out, and with everybody that comes on, they all are experts with different specific things, and some of them with general things. And when we dig into the areas that they're really good at, if there's something there that we think could benefit us, we'll try it out for a good period of time, and we don't necessarily need to have all the studies, et cetera, behind it, as long as they can give us some type of proof, whether it be people that they're working with, things that they've seen, things that they've learned, where it's going to be beneficial, and we'll try it out for a bit. If it doesn't bring us benefit at all, we'll drop it. But if it does, it's something, a habit that we're going to maintain. Someone like Kador Ziani comes to mind. His practices are super simple. His book is really great. It's on Amazon. But the practices that he has of sitting on the floor, the things that he does with his feet, it shows. He's 50-something. He can still dunk. He moves in an amazing way. Yeah.
That's a great example of something that doesn't really take extra time. You're on your couch and you're like, man, I remember that guy Kador. I remember the guys from Goda. They said to get on the floor. That's where we rest and relax, is on the floor.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll just get on the floor. It doesn't really take you any extra time. Maybe it takes a moment for you to like settle in and have it not feel uncomfortable because maybe you're sore or whatever, but it's just like ideas like that. Real easy to incorporate.
Yeah, it's the white belt mentality, right? Even if it's on a subject that I have more knowledge than something else, but if somebody says something that contradicts what I think I know, I'm not going to be like, no, that's bullshit, because it goes against what I know. I'm going to be like, whoa, let's explore and see what you got, what this is all about.
Yeah.
And then the other thing, like to answer your question, Mark, like I kind of like coach myself. If I am slouching on the couch or something, I'm like, oh, dude, like, better than this. Like, just get on the floor. Or if, I don't know, it's getting late and I pull my phone out or something, I will kind of have my own voice in the back of my head being like, dude, you know way better than this. And so, like, I look at myself almost like in a third person view. I think that's how you're supposed to say it. Yeah. And I like coach myself, like, okay, if I wanted the best for this person right now, what would I do? And then that's how I kind of like come to the conclusion of like what I'm doing is serving me and what I'm doing might not be. And then also even with that, it's like, well, maybe you just want to chill out and relax, but maybe you can figure out a different way to do that, not being on your phone.
Yeah. There's a part 2 to this question. We can hit this one quick. How would you teach someone or try to help someone develop the mindset of open-mindedness as well? You guys are simply incredible. Thank you for everything. Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. All right. So
be open-minded the way you're talking right now. My butthole tightened up a little bit.
You ain't ready for this.
Hey, say that again. Say it a little slower.
Just one more time. Almost.
But yeah, how would you teach someone? How to be more open-minded?
Man, it's hopefully people come to those conclusions on their own. If they come to those conclusions on their own, then they'll hopefully be more. They'll want to do more with that information rather than having that information be kind of a negative. I don't know if you can. I think you can encourage people. I think that in my experience, a lot of times when I mention something to somebody, even though there was no intent for it to be insulting, it's like sometimes it kind of bothers somebody.
Yeah.
We had my friend John, when he came here, he said something about your back and you're like, oh, screw that. I don't think he's right. And then you worked on something and felt like it did work out better for you. I personally have had the same experience many times where someone says something and I'm like, fuck this guy. He has no idea what he's talking about. And then I'm also thinking like, well, why did I even bring this guy here? Like I brought him here. I want to learn from him. Why am I thinking that in my head? So as open-minded as we are, we're actually closed-minded as well.
Yeah.
But that's kind of part of the whole thing. You got to take what someone says and you have to test it against your own ideas. And as much as I've said before on the show, and I think the three of us are kind of aligned with this, we're not really super into the science of stuff and the studies. However, those can point us in the right direction and stuff. But in my view, we are scientists, because we're constantly testing our own ideas, our old ideas versus some new ideas. And I go back and forth all the way to the point where I'm running in different shoes quite often. I'm testing out different weight vests on walks. I'm just testing stuff all the time. And I'm just interested. I don't believe that there's any one thing that's going to propel me forward or rocket ship me to the moon in terms of performance or anything crazy like that. But I just want to see for myself, I want to compare some old ideas to some newer ones and then see which one survives.
Although there have been certain things that have made a big difference over time. One being nasal breathing. When I started doing that, after it was a difficult habit to pick up, especially when doing all performance activities. But after that became the mode
When you
of rolling.
started, did you think like, how?
Yeah, because it was hard. It was very hard to just breathe through my nose when rolling. Like I'd want to open up my mouth to breathe, and sometimes I did. But as my capacity increased, I realized, oh shit, I'm able to stay super calm even when in really bad situations. My heart rate's perpetually a little bit lower because I'm nasal breathing. So that practice over time made a difference. And what I thought was interesting, what was her name? The breathing lady, Belisa Vranich. She has a lot of great information, but when we talked to her about nasal breathing, she is an expert. She was like, I don't think it makes that much of a difference. But my years of the change I made and the years of doing it, I was just like, are you sure about that? Because all of these other people mentioning how this is a big difference, you're an expert, you're not. So there's also a level of like, we've done things for a while that even sometimes when an expert does say that's not a big deal or it doesn't make a difference, we understand, like, we've put things in practice.
They have different beliefs too, yeah.
They have different beliefs. So, yeah.
I think we've had Joel Jameson on the podcast before, and also with Chris Henshaw. Those are two guys. They are fans of practicing some nasal breathing, but that's not like their first thing. That's not like their go-to. I think both individuals are a little bit more, they want to see you focus more in on heart rate. But again, each guy is going to have their own thing. They're going to have their own beliefs. And I found that nasal breathing is massively beneficial. And I think for people that have tried it and they're frustrated and they're like, man, I don't know how anyone does that on a run or how anyone does that in jiu-jitsu, just try to practice it as much as you can, whenever you can. Try it in your warm-ups when you're working out. Try it in your warm-ups when you're doing jiu-jitsu. Try it on a walk and just pay attention throughout the day and say to yourself, oh my God, why am I breathing in and out of I'm just taking a shower or I'm just taking garbage out. Like, what am I doing?
Walking up the stairs.
Yeah, just try to get back into that nose if you can.
I want to say too, real quick, if you guys asked questions on the last live stream that conked out, ask them here because we do not have access to that right now.
My bad. And then I was just going to say, like, maybe you don't even have to do any convincing. You just keep doing what you're doing. And then eventually they will come and ask you exactly like what you're doing. And then you can be like, oh, I'm doing this. And even in that moment, they still might be like, no, I don't know. That's kind of weird. But as you continue to do it and you keep seeing results with whatever the endeavor is, then like that's kind of like your proof. You don't have to point to studies. You don't have to point to a podcast that says to do it this way. You're just like, no, that's just how I do it. And then the mind all of a sudden opens up.
I do think sometimes that can be helpful. Like it can be annoying when someone's like, hey, see, like Huberman said it, right?
Right.
Lane Norton said it. So, this is my confirmation or whatever. But I do think that can be helpful because sometimes it could be just the right person speaking to the right person. I think, Andrew, you were mentioning Tony Robbins. Like Tony Robbins, the words that he had back in the day just didn't land on you well. And then as you developed and you listen to him now, you're like, oh, I kind of see what he's saying. Sometimes those things you have to come across on your own, but it's still cool that you were exposed to it at some point. And then you end up, hopefully people end up going back to these sources that could be pretty reliable. Help with some life changes.
Power Project family, if you're trying to increase your muscle mass, if you're trying to lose body fat, if you're trying to stick to your nutrition plan, if you're trying to get fit, pretty much if there's anything you're trying to do for your health, we know that sleep is the biggest determining factor to help you get from point A to point B. That's why we've been sleeping on 8 Sleep mattresses for probably more than 2 years now. And the main reason is the technology behind the Pod Pro. Now, the Pod Pro is like the Tesla of beds. It will change its temperature based off of how you're sleeping during the night. And if you have a partner that's sleeping on the other side, they could have their own temperature settings. We all sleep hot here, and I used to wake up in a puddle of my own sweat.
Gross.
That doesn't happen anymore because of the 8 Sleep mattress, and I've been getting the best sleep of my life. Now, if you don't want to replace your mattress, you can just get the Pod Pro cover, and you can put that over your current mattress to get all the benefits of 8 Sleep. But if you also need to replace your old nasty mattress, you can get the Pod Pro cover and the 8 Sleep mattress. Andrew, how can they get it?
Yes, you guys got to head over to 8sleep.com/powerproject, and you guys will automatically receive $150 off of your order. Again, 8sleep.com/powerproject. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
Y'all ready for another question?
Yep.
All right, Jack Purchase. If I want to improve strength, endurance, and mobility, do I do a little bit of all in parallel? Okay, so do I do them at the same time or prioritize one particularly at that time?
I think you can do like a multitude of things at one time. Especially like if those things are fun for you, for you to like have a departure from endurance while you're doing your strength and vice versa might be kind of annoying and boring. Check out, what some of the stuff that Nick Bear is doing. Check out some stuff that Pete Rubish is doing. Pete Rubish is still deadlifting 600 pounds ish. He was on performance enhancing drugs for years. He came off of those and he is now doing a half marathon coming up. He's running like a 15-minute mile pace or something like that. Like he's flying.
Shit.
So he's running really fast. His endurance is absolutely nuts. And he's still building strength, holding on to muscle mass. He's doing a really good job of it. He's doing them simultaneously. For myself, I just haven't really lifted as heavy in a long time, but I plan to bring some of that back in at some point. At right now, it just doesn't seem like my strength is a weakness, so I want to make sure that I can continue to get better at running. So the focus is a little bit more of me being on my feet for running. But yeah, you can pair the two together, and you can get stronger while you're improving your endurance. Lastly, I would say lift about 3 times a week and probably run about 3 to 4 times a week.
Yeah, especially within the context of running. I think one thing you need to figure out is what's my priority? Because like with trying to, you can improve at all of these at the same time. And I think mobility is actually one of the easiest things that doesn't even take too much effort. But trying to improve strength and then trying to improve endurance, figure out, okay, am I a strength athlete who's going to be maybe competing in strength sports? And my priority is trying to improve my squat, bench, and deadlift, but I also want the ability and capacity to run for a decent amount of time. That means that your strength kind of needs to be by priority, and you can still do endurance work, but make sure that it's not way too frequent. So like you said, I think maybe you said 2 or 3 times a week or something.
Yeah, 3 to 4 times a week, maybe somewhere in there.
3 to 4 times a week, and make sure the intensity isn't too high, because you will be progressing a little bit slower on the endurance end than you will be on the strength end. Vice versa. If your priority is being an endurance athlete, but you want to develop strength, then you got to figure out, well, what am I trying to develop strength in? Because if you're trying to increase your deadlift, then you got to ask yourself, why am I trying to increase my deadlift to 600, 700 pounds? Is there a reason? Is it going to help you with anything? Because that could mean that you can just switch what strength looks like for you. Maybe strength isn't your 1 rep max on your lifts, but maybe strength is doing unilateral movements, meaning movements on each side. So it could be something like a split stance squat or an ATG split squat, or even like single arm movements. But those movements aren't going to fatigue you nearly as much, and you can increase in strength with them. Right. Than doing something like heavy squats and heavy deadlifts.
Trying to get stronger with your jumps. Like, I don't think people think that that's a strength movement, but jumping and med ball tosses and all those things, all those explosive movements are awesome for strength.
Absolutely.
So that's kind of more my focus at the moment. But I do think that squatting and benching and deadlifting and things like that can really be useful too. But I would question how much a like full-on 1 rep max is really worth your while or time when you consider the risk to reward ratio. And I would say the same thing about sprinting. Like if you're trying to increase your endurance and increase your power, the sprinting is great for increasing your power. It's incredible, but for most people it's a little too much. The risk to reward is high. And so therefore it's not like you shouldn't sprint at all, but like a little bit of sprinting can go a long way. And you might have to find something to sprint on rather than going to a track and just sprinting with your own body. You might be better off sprinting hard on a Airdyne bike or something like that.
All right. This is a question from Adelavan. And by the way, guys, like I mentioned, we will be giving away some shit. Like, for example, these are these new Vivo boots that are fucking sick. Really cool. So there's going to be someone that gets a pair of shoes. Doesn't have to be the boots, but for me to get the information from you, you have to be part of the Discord, so I can then message you or I can let you know. So you have to join the Discord, and if we give you your name, then we got to talk on there. Next question from A. Delaven. How does your body know And by the way, we gave away an 8-sleep mattress to that guy, Quantum Cloud, and he wasn't on. So we had to give his mattress to somebody else. So this is what I'm saying. Like, if you want whatever we
you got to be around.
You got to be around. Okay. A. How does your body know scientifically when a soda is a diet 0-calorie item versus a full sugar one? How does your body detect the difference? Well, it's going to be the sugar in the calorie.
Yeah.
soda.
Some people believe that just the sensing of like the sweetness that the body gets confused, and there are some people that will say that your body will produce some insulin and things like that. I think people kind of get carried away. If you like the flavor of like some diet drinks here and there, or you like the flavor of some stuff that has some sucralose or some artificial sweeteners, or even natural sweeteners, I just say go for it. Like I do think that these things have been around long enough to where we've seen time and time again. It does seem like people can use them effectively to allow themselves to stay on a diet for longer, to where they can have more compliance with their diet. The diet could be more funerist, and they're able to lose weight and have better health outcomes. So I don't really know how to exactly answer that question, but I don't think it's anything to be too concerned with, personally.
There we go. Okay. I'm going to try to get through more. Oh my God, there's a lot of questions. Okay. We can hit this real quick. Quattro Toronto, Nsima Andrew, what was your first day of BJJ like? I went to my first class. Everything was overwhelming. My first class is actually on my YouTube channel. I recorded it and I got tapped a lot. It is overwhelming because nothing makes sense. If you're starting jujitsu and you're a new person, realize that nothing will make sense for like the first 4 to 5 months. Maybe after 6 to 7 months, certain things start clicking. Andrew, you're more fresh on this, so you'll be able to remember. But it's an overwhelming thing. I wasn't a grappler. I wasn't a wrestler. So like the idea of being up close and personal with another human being also made me somewhat uncomfortable. So
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Like when you're on top of somebody and you're like dripping sweat on them, or they're dripping sweat on you.
and then
they're
you
like,
just taste the nice salt.
and they're like, hey, try this. And you're like, what? And you go to grab something, and then they're like, oh, you have this already. All you got to do is lift your hips up or something. You're like, I do? Like,
I think I giggled the first time I drilled an armbar because I'm like, oh God, his elbow's by my dick. There's these things, you know what I mean? It's different, but
you're like, that's not an assignment pad in my gi. That's my fucking balls.
We've been drilling the headquarters position, and you get down in that spot. And so when somebody does it to you, I'm like, my top of my foot is just cupping this dude's sack right now. This is warm right now. This is
nice and toasty.
all right. We'll go there. But yeah, actually today marks exactly 1 year since I walked into Waza.
Oh hell!
School. Yeah,
Congratulations, dog.
1 full year of jiu-jitsu for me. And yeah, dude, what he said was overwhelming is accurate. And I don't want to discourage or like make it sound worse, but like once you get in there, it becomes even more overwhelming because there's like so many different things that you can see that you don't see right now, and all of it still equally does not make sense. But I remember something like going shin to shin and then throwing up like a single leg X. I didn't understand how to move my body to like throw my foot up, like I didn't understand how to get my hips above my like chest, to get my legs higher. Like all of it was just super awkward. It was like trying to throw a football with your left hand.
Yeah.
You're just like, I understand what you're doing, but my body doesn't do that. And so
I think there's also a phase where you don't think you're going to get better. Like it's so confusing and it's so annoying that like you're like, how are all these people so good at this weird shit where it still doesn't make sense to me? If you can just get through that phase, just keep going to class, even though it doesn't make sense. Things you drilled something last week and you don't remember at all what it is this week. That doesn't mean you're bad. You're just new. And if you stick with it for enough time, jiu-jitsu will make sense and it will become a very fun experience.
Yeah, and definitely look at it as the long haul, right? Like I fell victim to like, I want to get better. I want to go every day. And then you end up taking, you try to take half a step forward and you take like 4 steps back because you end up, kind of cracking a rib or something.
Did you guys listen to Musk on Joe Rogan to get a chance to listen?
Not yet.
No. What's up?
He was talking more about like fighting Zuckerberg again, and all fired up, and he's saying that Zuckerberg pulled out of the fight, and
he was say that.
Yeah, he was getting him. He was trying to get him riled up or whatever. But so much of what Elon Musk was saying about fighting just did not make any sense. He's like, I'm so much bigger than him. He's like, I'm 50 pounds more. And then Rogan would like bring up examples. And he's like, well, he's like, you know that sometimes a smaller guy, and Musk is like, that's super unlikely. He's like, it's just not going to happen. It's super unlikely.
Oh man.
And then Rogan's like, well, it happens all the time. And he's like, he named a couple of guys that I'm sure you guys would know who they are. The smaller,
Mikey Musumeci and shit like that.
There you go. Yeah. He mentioned those guys, and he was saying like, he's like, here, like, look at this, event where he wins. And then like, the guy didn't win. It was like, they were going back and forth, and I guess he won by points. And Musk is like, I think you're just proving my point more. He's like, it's difficult to beat someone that's bigger than you. And he just kind of kept like leaning on that. I was like, I don't think he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah. But on that note, like the coolest thing about this is what got me into jiu-jitsu. My first day, and it's on my YouTube channel. I have that there. There was a guy that was a black belt that was 160 pounds that tapped me like 6 times in 6 minutes, and he tapped me very easily. And at that time I was 260 pounds. Muscular, like strong, and he still managed to like kind of manhandle me in a way, because I didn't matter how explosive I was. He just had really good technique, and that's fucking powerful. Like that's a superpower. I am almost 100 pounds heavier than you, and you just made me submit to you 6 times in a 6-minute period, dog. That's what made me be like, oof, this is sick. That's cool.
What if you straight up just fought the guy though?
Hey, you know what? If I fought him, who knows? It's a tough thing.
He would still have an advantage with the experience that he has.
Yeah, because like I would maybe try to do things, but he would know how to get close to me and kind of maybe nullify things at that time. I could try to swing, but I feel like that guy that I was rolling with would have the ability maybe to actually win that fight. I really do think so. At that time,
also
at least.
too, like if you are, thinking of slamming somebody or any of these things, I think a smaller guy is going to probably have thought about that scenario before, and they'll probably think, I'm going to let the guy slam me. So what? Depending on the surface you're on, maybe. Yeah. But I'm going to let the guy slam me, and then I'm just going to get his ankle and break his leg.
Because people do that shit.
Yeah, they do.
All right, next one. Okay. How would you guys, from Ferenc Hegikozy, interesting. How would you guys design a day in the life if you put all your energy to get better in the gym, get stronger, and get more athletic? Well, right now. How would you design a day in the life? All right. Well, what would we start in the morning? Getting a little bit of movement in, taking a walk, jump roping? What would you guys do?
Could we start the night before?
Getting good sleep?
Yeah, really good sleep. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I don't really love, although I've worked out like this many times, I don't really love like lifting weights first thing in the morning. If the intensity is lower and it's more like bodybuilding, then it's easier. But if I'm trying to get like strong, it's like later in the day. So I agree, like get a good night's sleep in the morning, get some movement, get some sunlight, and go like just follow your own intuition. Go to the gym when you like to go to the gym. Get that form of exercise done when you like to do it. Because some people, they like to train at like 10. Other people like to train at like 3 or 4. Some people like to train a little bit later in the evening. I found for myself though, training really past around 4 or 5 p.m. was just tough for me. It would like hype me up too much a lot of times. So if I did that too often during the week, then it cut into my sleep. But I think, if you're just thinking about, like these fitness influencers or some of us that get to play powerlifter, bodybuilder kind of all day, it's really just about like eating and trying to recover from the workouts that you're doing, having good solid nutrition, getting in good sleep, and also staying away from like a lot of distractions. I think that is critical. So if you have the like financial freedom, or you have the time to really invest in a lot of exercise and to make yourself better and to be more productive, the downside of that is if you don't have a schedule, you might be kind of screwed, because you might find yourself distracted all the time. So that would be something that I would suggest too, is to try to make some sort of schedule. Yeah.
Honestly, I think you hit a lot of that. I think one big thing is if you are trying to, get stronger, become more athletic, and let's say you're doing something with a sport, you want to pay attention to your distractions. not that you shouldn't have fun. You should have fun and enjoy the people in your life. But like when you notice that maybe some of your activities are detrimental to you being able to progress, you need to temper those activities. Drinking too much, being out too late too often, because sleep is going to be one of your biggest things in terms of your recovery. So you just need to pay attention to those distractions and try to. You do want to have a balance. Some people say, oh, if you want to be great, there's no balance with greatness. But I think there's a level of like you can enjoy certain things while also really pursuing your athletic goals. So yeah, cool. Pretty simple. Mark, are you out of chocolate steak shake?
We have been for a little while, but we have the new Total Carnivore.
It's really
steak
good.
shake. So
it is really good too.
Brian Z
right now.
That. Do you want to? Brian Z is asking that. Should be maybe.
Yeah, we can give some away.
All right, Brian, hit us up in the Discord. Just message me. Give us your address and your shit. We'll send you some of the. Was it Total Carnivore?
Mm-hmm. Total Carnivore steak shake. I took out every possible allergen, everything you can think of that makes people shit their pants, because. My boy Andrew pointed out to me, he's like, sometimes people have like a gluten intolerance. Sometimes people are allergic to this and allergic to that. So I got rid of eggs. I got rid of whey. There's no dairy. There's no lactose. It's gluten-free. Just got rid of everything. And it's basically beef protein isolate, collagen, and it also has tallow in it, is instead of the MCT oil, which is in a normal steak shake, which that sometimes gives people some gastric distress as well. So anything that I've ever heard anybody say, hey, that makes me fart, or that makes me do this, that makes me do that. I was like, I'm going to just extract all that stuff out of there. And then, of course, because it's a steak shake, it has liver, kidney, heart, spleen, and all that good stuff in there. So it's got some essential vitamins and minerals coming through the organ powders in there as well.
Yeah, and it still tastes incredible, but I just like how it's like the no more excuse protein. Like, it's not going to bother you.
Yeah, I think we nailed the taste. The flavor is really good. I don't know why it's like quite a bit different than the regular steak shake, but it's yummy.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And guys, we will get to your questions. There's been a lot. We're going to try to zoom through some of these. But Bruce Wilkie said, you guys helped me a ton getting started back at it, down 100 pounds over a year.
What?
Congratulations, Bruce. That's a big deal. It's a very big deal.
100 pounds?
Over 100 pounds.
Damn.
Yeah. Down 100 pounds. Yeah. That's crazy. All right. From Brian Z, was wondering, is there any supplements you guys recommend to help with anxiety? That's an interesting one. I personally don't have much experience with supplements for anxiety, other than marijuana.
Yeah, and how,
I don't suggest it, but help some people.
I do think that I think you'd be better off, kind of researching this a bunch and kind of looking it up, maybe seeing what some of the experts on YouTube are saying. But I have heard people say that they've had some benefits from things like ashwagandha. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of different versions of that. There's like different patents on that and different types. So that might be something that you might want to look up and you might want to look into. I think that anxiety is a tricky thing, because I think like what I would see if my own son came to me and he said, I have a lot of anxiety, I would encourage him to push off of things that get you too fired up and push away from things that get you too excited. So energy drinks, Kratom, any of these things, like just put those things on the back burner for a little bit. Maybe you have a cup of coffee or something like that in the morning. I don't think that's a huge deal, because there's not that much caffeine in like one regular cup of coffee. If you're getting like a Starbucks or something, maybe just try to get a smaller one. But I think that those things, they're amplifiers, and they make your highs and your lows higher than normal. Mm-hmm. And if you're somebody that is having a little bit of anxiety and you're having a hard time kind of controlling some of that, I don't think it's a good idea to really rev your engine in those ways. Exercise obviously is huge. So more so than a supplement, I think going on a walk, trying to find ways to relax. I know everyone hates meditation and they feel like they can't do it, especially somebody that is anxious. It's going to be like, dude, there's no way I can. But any amount of meditation would be effective. So even if you can only handle doing like 2.5 minutes of it, I would say that would be like kind of almost like the minimum.
Yeah.
Throw on some like Wim Hof, like just look up, just on your YouTube, look up Wim Hof breathing. And the breathing that he does is like, it's a little different. He's breathing pretty heavily. You might want to also try to find some like relaxed breathing as well, but try that. Just try it every day for 2.5 minutes and just see what it will do for you. I saw somebody the other day just talking about how they suggest to their clients that they do that 2 or 3 times a day because of the impact that it has. We've heard Huberman talking about breathing. We've heard so many people talking about breathing, and even just doing like the double sigh of breath, how that can help relieve some tension and some stress. So I don't really know about a great supplement necessarily for anxiety. Maybe Andrew will have some info on that, but those are my suggestions. They're more on the physical side.
And I quickly do want to add in on the physical side, because like I've found like through the years, obviously we like exercise, but when there were times where, let's say for some reason I just couldn't for a long time, that's where levels of anxiety would arise. And I knew that I just need to figure out some way to empty the tank, to sweat a bit. And that's something that's just been a constant benefit over the years. And we stack certain things now. So we stack good sleep, we stack exercise, we stack things like the cold plunge. And that's why I think like our levels of what some would call anxiety aren't as high, because we have a stacking of good habits. We don't necessarily seek a supplement to help us with that. We seek the things within the lifestyle. So really assess your lifestyle, what you're doing on a daily basis. And as far as meditation is concerned, I've been using an app for years called the Waking Up app from Sam Harris. I think it's really good. Something you might want to check out.
Yeah. I reiterate exactly what Mark said about like revving your engine. You also don't want to like put the rev limiter too slow. Like if you're already kind of low and then you take something that might bring it down even lower, it could potentially, I don't know if it's going to mess things up, but it just, I don't know. I think it's obviously better to get it naturally, but some supplements that do help, at least they helped me. L-theanine, it comes in different forms, but it's just going to kind of calm everything down. A lot of people take it with caffeine to mellow out the caffeine so you don't get all jittery. That one's usually pretty good too. 5-HTP is huge for like trying to be a mood enhancer. And then another one called, it looks like it's spelled SAME, so like same, but it's pronounced SAME because the E is bigger. I'm not sure what the hell it is. But those 3 things I've tried and I found some benefits, but if you don't kind of get to the root cause, nothing's really going to quite really help as far as like supplements. The 2 things that have absolutely without a doubt changed the game completely. You were talking about meditation, so breath work. Look up Justin Lovato. That has helped me a ton. And then the other thing, which it's annoying because I stare at it and I don't want to do it, but it's the cold plunge. If you want something to help with mood and get rid of anxiety and get rid of all of the weird clouds that are hovering around you, getting in and out of the cold will do that. It doesn't have to be the cold plunge. I think just doing the cold shower could definitely do it. And then, when you turn the water back to warm, you are going to feel amazing. So those are my couple things, but I would say the cold plunge and transcendental breath work, because I can't meditate because of the same things that they were just explaining. Like I will try to focus on nothing, and then my mind wanders like more than it ever does when I'm doing anything else. So with the transcendental breath work, you're kind of given a program to breathe in and out, and then like a byproduct of that is man, I get blasted into outer space. It's kind of incredible.
Every morning.
In, out.
Nice. Some Wim Hof.
Yeah. That's sick.
But one thing to think about, guys, if you do mess with any meditation, is that like the goal isn't necessarily not to think of nothing. The goal is just to like potentially, with whatever meditation you're trying to do, maybe just focus on one thing, whether it's focusing on your breath, because your focus will leave your breath and then you will just bring it back and bring it back. But as you meditate more, you're going to notice like, oh, it's taking much longer for my mind to wander before I have to bring it back. It's that action of like, oh, you see yourself wandering, come back. You see yourself wandering, come back. Or even open-eyed, like meditation, opening your eyes and staring at a specific spot. You could be staring there and just like trying to just stay focused. Your mind wanders, bring it back. It's that action of bringing yourself back to a level of focus that I think is like actually so cool with meditation, because our ability to get distracted these days is like high.
Yeah.
Like, we're like, where's the new colors? You know what I mean? Exactly. So
I think a lot of times people don't really try it.
yeah. Or
They
it's
just
frustrating.
They just say they can't do it. But I've found that focusing on a point, whether your eyes are open or closed, you can like have an imaginary point that you focus on. That is really helpful. Paying attention to your breathing, and then taking the stuff that does come into your mind and just pretending that you can like Minority Report it, Tom Cruise it, and just swipe it.
It's a good movie.
Like just, swipe it away, like throw it into like a folder for later or whatever. And you just kind of keep swiping through stuff. You don't have, there's nothing that you have to do. That's the key to meditation. There's nothing that you need to do. The only thing you need to do is work on trying to be still for like 2 minutes or so. That's the only thing. And then you accomplished it. You could put a little check mark next to it for the day.
Yeah.
And you'll get better at it. But think of it, rather than thinking about like you need to think of nothing and you need to feel really relaxed afterwards, just think that I need to just do this for 2 minutes and get through it. And it's also a practice. You're going to get better at it over time. So at first it might not be great. You might get super distracted and end up on your phone and be like, oh my God, I totally lost.
Yeah.
But 2 minutes is not too much to ask.
Yeah, that's why I like the breath work, because when I see stuff, or when things come to mind or whatever it may be, I'm able to just kind of like explore it. And then what it allows me to do is it's like, okay, you're seeing this for a reason. Like that's because you need to work through something here. And so that's it just, because for me to do it like what you guys are explaining is still difficult. So that's something I need to practice on. But this was my introduction into like quote meditation, and just be able to work through things on my own.
Yeah. TRT, it's a popular topic. A lot of guys are hopping on it. It's something that we've talked about a lot. And you might think you're a candidate, but how would you know if you haven't got your blood work done and you don't know where your markers are? That's why we've partnered with Merrick Health, owned by Derek from More Plates, More Dates. And the cool thing about Merrick is you'll get your blood work done, and you'll also have a patient care coordinator that can help you analyze your blood work, analyze your testosterone, all these other markers to help you actually figure out if you're someone who needs TRT, because there could be things that you could be doing nutritionally, with supplements, or even with your lifestyle that can boost your testosterone to the levels that they should actually be at. Andrew, how can they get their hands on it?
Yes, that's over at merrickhealth.com/powerproject. And at checkout, enter promo code POWERPROJECT to save 10% off the Power Project panel, the checkup panel, or any individual lab that you select. Again, that's at merrickhealth.com/powerproject, promo code POWERPROJECT at checkout, links in the description, as well as the podcast show notes.
Next question, Mark and Andrew. From Dan. He said, I injected 100 milligrams of testananthate near belly button. Should I be worried? Should he be worried?
I don't know.
Yeah, where do you get this information? You can inject testosterone sub-Q. People do it all the time, so shouldn't be
even enanthate. I don't even. That's just est or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have no idea.
Well, we have another question. Then we're back to some test questions. So, from Jay Strong Barbell, what do you guys do for grip, and what's the hardest hand gripper you've closed? I'm stuck at the 300-pound hand gripper because I'm such a badass. Fuck you, Jay. I'm joking. I love you, Jay. Like, you're very strong, dog. Do we have a 300 here? I can't close that shit.
No, I think
300 is very strong.
250, I think, might be the most, and I can't even.
Yeah, like what the fuck, Jay? You're a very strong man.
Jesus.
I can't close at 300. I can get it like maybe halfway. But what do we do for grip? Well, the thing is, what I do for grip, I don't do stuff in the gym as much anymore. I've bought especially with jiu-jitsu, because there's so many, you're grabbing so much, grabbing the gi or you're pummeling, right? People end up having really fucked up hands over time. So I've purchased on Amazon these finger extensors, because not only do I want to be able to grip, but I also want good finger extension. I want my fingers to be strong in both directions. I also bought this thing called Pro Hands. It's on Amazon for pressing down in terms of the fingers. So it's not just the grip, but it's also being able to press down on the fingers, and it has different strength. And I do it every day. It's not something that I think you have to do only in the gym. So I have these on me all the time, and it's been very helpful for my hands.
Yeah, grip can be as simple as like holding some deadlifts, pausing some back work that you're doing. hanging from a pull-up bar, hanging from a chin-up bar. There's lots of ways to attack it. I think training your grip is really is smart though. So any way that you can figure out how to train it is a good way. And I think you're also going to get a lot of training of it through kettlebell work, farmers carries. I want to say that for myself, I would put grip work in the similar category as like mobility. I don't really go out of my way to do a ton of extra mobility work. Mobility is part of my training nowadays. Yeah. So when I go to do a movement, I am more into the actual movement of the exercise and executing it well than I am just lifting X amount of weight. And then when it comes to grip, I'm not necessarily thinking of grip. I'm just thinking like farmer's carry is a great movement. So let me do this movement. It's just good. It's good overall exercise, but it is working the grip at the same time.
Gotcha. Okay. From this is an interesting name, Rock Humper. A lot of people say don't try steroids until you've been training for 10 years and maxed out your genetics. But that's the context for mostly younger people. What about older guys just getting into it? I'm guessing just getting into training in the gym. What do you guys think?
Sounds like he already made up his mind.
So what are you going to do? Push him over the edge?
Sounds like you're already 3/4 of the way there. I don't know how much it matters about how long you've been training, but I would always suggest that if the goal to take performance enhancing drugs is to enhance what you've already built and done, then I would make sure that those habits are already very good. So make sure those habits are really strong and make sure they're good. And if you feel like you're at like 60%, steroids aren't going to increase your habits necessarily. They just might make you look like you're a 70 or 80% guy when you're really more like a 60% guy. But get yourself more serious, not yourself, but in general, someone should make sure that they're pretty damn serious about what it is that they're doing if they want to take performance enhancing drugs to amplify what they're already doing.
One thing I think you should think about too is like, we've had so many people that have come onto the show, and one thing is that when you do take the plunge into using PEDs, like Mark said, it's very important that you have the habits, because when someone plays that card but they don't have the habit of the gym, it's like sometimes they're expecting way more than what they get, right? And the habit of working out, nutrition, those are the things that's going to get you where you want to be. PEDs for some people is an added benefit, but if you're going because of PEDs, if at any time that stops, you don't want your motivation to train to be gone because you're no longer on PEDs. And you also got to think about the aspect of like, you are older. Get your blood work done. See where everything is at. Don't just hop into whatever you might do without understanding what your body is currently doing and what your body's currently producing. Because you might just be able to optimize things without using tests or anything like that. You might be able to. And just fix all the lifestyle and habit things before you take that route, because that once you go down that road, it's going to be hard to stop.
Save your steroids for later. Save them for when you're 50 or 60, like if you can. And so maybe you can, get some blood work done through someone like Merrick Health and work on your sleep and work on taking appropriate vitamins and learn some stress mitigation and so forth. I do think that people they're antsy and they want to get on. They want to kind of like see like what the hell is going to happen. And if you're not taking just TRT, what is going to happen is going to be pretty profound, and you'll have to figure out a way to deal with that. So like, it sounds like good. It sounds awesome. You get on some stuff, you get better pumps, you're a little stronger, you recover from your workouts a little bit better. You are a little bit more motivated and stuff like that too. So there's a lot of cool stuff that comes with that, but that's a little bit like, it's a lot of extra responsibility that you're now dumping on your shoulders, and you just end up in this category of like, now what? Now what are you going to do? You're going to just stay on them forever, or what's your choice from here?
Yeah, and then like, so when you do get the labs, don't get upset if they don't look fantastic, if you haven't really been kind of been paying attention to the lifestyle habits that you guys are just talking about. But also, former guest of the show, Chris Kruger, so at Kruger Body, so it's with a K, KRU. Body. He talks a lot about like optimizing your testosterone levels naturally. I believe he's in his 40s and he's jacked. He's in amazing shape. So that's a good resource for somebody if you're interested in trying to figure that stuff out.
But like what Andrew mentioned, Merrick, even there's some supplements that they they suggested to me that I need to go and get done. Merrick does a very good job of not just getting people on TRT, because there are places you can go and like these places are like, oh yeah, well it's pretty much just a TRT clinic. Merrick, like I have my mom, I got her blood work done and she's taking some supplements right now to optimize certain things. They do a very good job at figuring out everything you need to do and things you need to fix before you have to pull that trigger, because that's a big decision and you shouldn't just take it lightly. It's something that a lot of guys do without thinking much these days. And it's not a bad thing. I'm not saying TRT is bad, but you need to put more thought into it before you hop on and do that, because it's going to change your life potentially for the better. But there's a lot of things to think about when on, you know? So just think more and get your blood work done. Yeah.
Don't we sell a shirt that says "Think Less"?
We do, but you don't want to think less in this situation. This isn't a situation where think less is applicable, I think. Or is it? Who fucking knows?
I would say just last thing on that is like if you feel like you have been pushing hard and you feel like you do have your habits intact, this will just be an amplifier of that and it will feel great. And it can be a great experience. Like there doesn't have to be a lot of negative sides. That's why we do suggest that you do it with people that know what the fuck they're talking about.
Yeah. From Hauke. Sounds like it's maybe a Swedish thing. I'm going to start the carnivore diet soon. On a budget, I'm planning on eating 1 kilogram of ground beef a day. Wow. And supplement with butter for calories. Is this enough if I'm training a lot? This is an interesting diet.
Sounds delicious, by the way. It's making me really hungry.
This sounds like 3 days. After 3 days, I'm like, I want something else.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Sounds, ooh.
Ground beef and butter. That's hardcore, dog.
It's really good, though.
Yeah, it is.
I've never really put those two together, I guess.
But he said supplementing with butter.
Well, I know. People do it all the time with steak. You know, they throw some butter on some steak.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah, so throw some butter on your
good
burger.
Have you done that a lot? Have you just made a hamburger and throw a...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, of course I have.
All right.
His
you
question...
ever see the old pictures of me?
Yeah,
of course.
I've seen a couple, yeah.
Yeah, of course I've thrown butter on beef. Kidding me?
I know steak, but I'm saying like a hamburger patty. Like I know you put it like a lot of cheese. I just didn't know you throw
dude, the ultimate is cheese and butter.
I've never done that, but I feel like I need to try that now.
God, it's fucking unbelievable.
Dude,
well, guys, is this
enough layer of butter
for his training? Is I feel like he's eating enough, but I just feel like it's such little variety. But I mean, hey, if it works, if it's going to work for you, well, it'll work for you. What do you guys think?
I think it'll be fine. I mean, that's the cool thing about the carnivore diet is you really don't need much else. He may want other stuff though. It might be a good idea to mix some other things in. So
eat fucking fruit.
Bored.
Eat some fruit. Eat an apple.
Yeah, if you feel tired and worn out, or your stomach's bothering you, like throw in some vegetables or some fruit.
Yeah.
If you feel like you need the carnivore diet because of some sort of, I don't know, weird issues with vegetables or something like that, then what you selected sounds like it'll work fine. But I also think one of the things that I think is annoying about the carnivore diet is that people really pigeonhole themselves into just thinking that the only animal they can consume is cows. I don't know why. I don't know why it's just that. Like it's never like, I don't know why people aren't thinking they can have chicken, they could have fish, they could have duck, they can have eggs, they can have lamb. Like the list of meat goes on and on forever. Like there's a lot of different kinds of meat, and meat comes in many different forms. So try not to get yourself so locked in on just meat or ground beef.
Did he say budget? Let me look at his question.
He did. I think he said that. Yeah.
Okay. On a budget. Yeah. So I mean, you know what? This is a hack. You should go to the Chinese markets. Every city, I think, generally has Chinese markets, and the meat there, good quantity, sometimes not as crazy expensive.
You got to be careful.
Cook it thoroughly.
Market, don't go there.
Cook the meat thoroughly. But yeah. But plus, I think Good Life Proteins has a good plethora of meat. So I know you said you're on a budget, but if you go to Good Life Proteins, they're in our bio. Piedmontese is beef. Good Life Proteins is like Piedmontese, except they have like duck and all that other stuff. So if you want some meat inspiration, they got bacon, they got chorizo.
That bacon's so good.
The bacon's good, but the fucking chorizo sausage is really good. They got a lot of different stuff, and you can get your beef there too. So check it out.
The Vertical Diet and Stan Efferding, he talks a lot. So if you're a lot about doing these diets on a budget. So if you're not following him already, make sure you're following him because he has a lot of good hacks. And I know people go to Costco, buy stuff on sale. You're not going to get, the best, softest steak and stuff like that and most tender, but you can get it very inexpensively.
Just learn how to cook.
Yeah. This is an interesting one from Keto D Fit. What's up, guys? So I've lost 140 pounds. Huge congratulations. Went from 355 to 215. Felt great at 230 to 235. Now sitting at 240 to 250, but want to get back to the 230s. Any advice?
Damn, it sounds like you already know how to lose weight.
Yeah.
Sounds like you got that shit down.
He's super jacked. He's been listening to the show for a while.
I know that name's familiar.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think, a lot of the stuff that we share on the show, I would say that with your name being keto, maybe because of the massive success that you've had in losing body fat, I would imagine that your body fat percentage is probably a lot better. You can probably handle carbohydrates a lot easier now. So maybe mix in some, throw in some fruit and throw in some rice or potatoes here and there. And also coming from like a keto background, a lot of times people will eat a lot of fat, a few 100 grams of fat a day. See if you can try to get your fat calories more modest, maybe keep them around 100 and see if you can get some of your energy from your carbohydrate. Obviously, you always want to keep that protein high, but I think some of those suggestions would really help.
Yeah. I also think so if you felt good in the 230s, I would try to get back to the 230s in a gradual way. Some people like to diet fast and diet quickly, and I'm not saying that's necessarily a bad thing. You can lower your calories fast and get yourself to the 230s, but what happens with some people is that they start eating food that's too little and they have too much expenditure, and then when they're there in the 230s, they can't maintain it for a long time. But if you can gradually, have expenditure, see the scale dropping because you already know how to lose weight. But if you can do it in a more gradual fashion where it doesn't necessarily feel like you're dieting too hard, when you get into the 230s, you'll probably feel pretty comfortable with the food you're eating there, the expenditure you have there, and you'll be able to maintain it. You'll be able to kind of own that body weight. So my suggestion would be don't do it. Don't drop weight too quickly. But you can if you'd like, but that's what I would say. All right, let's see. Next question. Andrew, you can answer this if you'd like to. But Andrew, what is your current TRT weekly protocol?
Yeah, I answered him in the chat, but
okay.
It's fine. It's so I kept trying to just get into the quote normal range, so that's it's I think under 1200. So that was my goal. So I kept tapering it down. So now I'm at about 140 milligrams a week, and I'm at 1100 nanograms per deciliter. And then the other one, which is the free testosterone, is at 300 or something. It's ridiculously high, but I've been feeling pretty good. Yeah.
All right. Oh, lordy lord. Okay. From DJ Nolasco, thoughts on C5, C6 disc replacement, and will be returning to jiu-jitsu. Got hit by a drunk driver a few months back. Sorry about that, dude. I'm a BJJ black belt. I teach and still plan on competing. Doctor says no competing or hard rolling. Okay, so DJ Nolasco, I would suggest start doing neck work if you can. What's comfortable? So if it was C5, C6, you might feel some discomfort moving that around, but you want to try to get some movement back. You can get something like the iron neck, or you can use a band, meaning that if you can get a light band, put it around the pole, and you see how the iron neck works where it's you can move from side to side. So if you don't have access to an iron neck, use a band, move from side to side, then move your head into the band. You can do repetitions of that. You can also get yourself something like a head harness. And if you get a head harness, you can actually attach it to a sled. And when you attach the head harness to a sled, you can load the sled up, keep your neck in a stable position walk backwards. You can turn around, walk forwards with the head harness and the sled weight behind you while keeping your neck in that position. You can do lateral walks, head harness, sled, walking laterally, and then walking another direction. That'll help strengthen your neck's rigidity. So the band will help you to strengthen the neck with movement in all those different directions, rotation, and then that will let you load your neck while moving through space. If you just get a head harness from Amazon, I believe you'll be able to do that. But you might need a sled for that. And you can also use a head harness with cables. That's another thing you can do with a cable machine. You can grab a head harness, attach it to a cable machine with an attachment, and then you can do the same things. But you really want to strengthen. You want to build a big, fat, fucking strong neck that can move, because now that muscle that you're building around there is going to help guard your cervical spine. And that should be a big priority for you over the next over forever, since you've had that injury. And every BJJ athlete, I think, needs to strengthen the fucking neck. So, yeah.
The sled is amazing for the neck stuff. It's unbelievable. You can even just take a belt and just put that kind of behind your head and walk backwards and sideways with it. Just, you want a belt that's comfortable. Like the Henny belt is really good. It's just nice. It's nice and soft. So try to find a belt that has
you sell that, right?
Give to it. I don't know if we still sell it. I don't know if it's still on our site, but you can just try to look it up. He makes a lot of great products, but I would also say that the sled in general is just great training, and it's really rare. Like anyone that can walk, I can think of anybody's like family member or friend or anybody that I know, no matter how injured or how banged up they are. I don't know. I cannot think of one person right now that I know that wouldn't be able to come in and perform a really awesome workout all just on the sled. So sled training is absolutely amazing. You can walk forward, backwards with it, sideways. It's really just only limited to your kind of imagination. So for somebody coming off of like a neck injury like that, you might find squatting and deadlifting and some of these other movements to be really hard. I know for myself, when I was doing pro wrestling, anything with my arms was really hard to do. My neck was always very stiff and just like screwed up. I don't think I broke anything or anything like that, but I remember just trying to press and use strength through like my extremities, just trying to express strength through my arms. It was just really, really difficult. So, get familiar with some of the other exercises that, maybe they're not as traditional as the ones you used to do, the bench, squat, deadlift, things like that. But work on like step ups, lunges, med ball throws, and med ball throws and things like that too. That will also help kind of prime your nervous system and get you more explosive again.
So if somebody has a stiff neck, should they try to like stretch it out and get some like mobility in there and then strengthen it? Like, should they just focus on strengthening like exclusively?
Both.
Yeah, I know it's both, but like initially, like if my neck is already stiff and like, getting here, it was like, oh, it's kind of painful. So should the thing be to try to just
stiff neck? I'd say myofascial release first.
Okay.
That's where I would start if your neck is just stiff.
Yeah. So myofascial release around like the traps, the upper back, that area will work. And if you can get some pressure on the neck would be good. But the reason why I said both is because when you're moving, say there's a band and there's band tension that's in this direction and it's right here. When I try to move my head into that band tension, there's a stretch going on here. There's a contraction going on this side of my neck. I'm now strengthening and getting range in the way that my neck moves. And it doesn't need to be fast. One thing that I see some people do is they'll fucking headbang that shit, right? Slow it down. Like slowly move your head into that tension while you're improving your ability to move. That's why I said both, because with the way you strength train, you can strengthen and get a better range of motion at the same exact time. There's no reason you can't. Even when you're using something like the head harness on the sled, initially you're going to maintain a neutral neck and you'll be walking backwards and walking forwards. But then you can move your neck back, right? Then you can walk backwards if you feel safe enough to maintain that position. And then if you feel safe enough too, you can move your neck into this position, right? And you can also walk in that position without having to load it too heavy, but you're strengthening your neck while increasing its ability to move. So that's why I don't necessarily think it needs to be one, because again, when you're using a band, you are strengthening and improving your neck's ability to move at the same exact time.
Yeah. So I think maybe what I was thinking is like, so using the same scenario where the band is pulling you towards your left ear, and then like leaning into that more, like letting it stretch and pull you.
You can. Yeah, of course. But the thing is you can do all this at the same time.
Yeah.
So you can move, let it stretch and pull you. You can move right back into it. It's all being done at the same time.
Got it.
Yeah.
Sick.
Alrighty. Mark, have you tried mixing in trail running? This guy hasn't been Quattroterrano hasn't been able to find correct shoes for trail. Go to Vivo, dog. Mm-hmm. But have you tried trail running?
No, I haven't. And in the next couple of weeks I will, because when I go to Tahoe, well, hopefully it's not snowing yet. If it's snowing, then it might cancel my plans. But that's what I wanted to do, kind of while having a little break for Thanksgiving, is to take up some trail running. But no, I've walked a lot of trails and stuff like that, but haven't really experienced much running with it yet.
Vivo has some good specific shoes that are trail running shoes that have higher tread on the bottom, so they're a little bit. It's a little bit, rugged, more
Those
rugged
like the ones
on the
you
bottom.
were wearing today?
No, I had the
Those
boots.
are nice. I like them.
These are just these are their casual boots, but
Those
they
are
have a nice.
sick.
Yeah, dude.
I thought you had the pink ones on today or something.
Okay. Yeah. These ones.
Those are trail kind of, right?
Well, okay. No, these are more casual. These are their Novus casual shoe. But their
Those
trail
might
running
work good
shoes.
for trail though too.
Yeah, some of their trail running shoes and their hiking shoes have this Michelin bottom on it that is rugged. Like this bottom is not going to like go anywhere. But this is their casual shoe. But their trail and hiking shoes have this Michelin tire bottom on it, so it's going to be rugged enough for the trail. But I'm fucking loving these boots. This shit, I've never worn boots before, but this shit, it's comfy as fuck.
It's awesome.
So, yeah.
So you have a hot date coming up and you look in your closet and all you see are the old, ugly clothes that you usually wear and you're going to wear tonight. It's time to end that, guys. That's why we've partnered with Viore Clothing, because they have some amazing athleisure clothes that you can wear in the gym when working out, but also clothes that you can wear on a date or during Hanukkah or whatever. You can wear these clothes wherever and they feel amazing. Some of our favorites are the Ponte Performance line, which has dream knit fabric, which literally feels so soft on your skin. But they also have this is the Rise tee, also soft, also feels nice and fits great. And they have a lot of amazing clothes that you need to check out to step your fashion game up. We're trying to help you out. Andrew, where can they get it?
Yeah, absolutely. You guys got to head over to viori.com/power project. That's VUORI.com/power project, and you'll automatically receive 20% off your order. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
All right. Let's see. Oh my God. Okay, guys. So about these penis pumps, they're very expensive. Any DIY at home options?
No.
Okay. Any
Definitely
DIY
don't.
at home pumping options? Take a vacuum, right?
Take your favorite bong. What the hell? Yeah, what are you going to use for your penis bong?
You could technically take your favorite bong and you could have a friend kind of
Have
suck
their mouth on the other side.
Just suck on the other hole of the bong to increase the pressure, which would cause suction
Yeah,
of
but there's
your.
no pressure gauge, so
You just gotta trust your homie.
Yeah, your buddy will be your pressure gauge.
I don't know why that got me. You gotta trust your homie.
You might suck too hard. Who knows?
Yeah, like, that's not a good time to play a practical joke, bud.
Yo, dog, I don't know any DIY options, man.
Is the penis pump that expensive?
It's like $250,
Yeah.
$200, something around there.
It does something that,
But it's for male enhancement.
that's what I'm saying. It's worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Next question from Dom Sornberger. Anyone specific to follow for bodybuilding posing? I think a good guy to follow is 3DMJ Godfather. He's Jeff Alberts. We've had him on the show. He's been 50-something-year-olds, but a great bodybuilder who really knows posing. And any of the guys from 3DMJ, Nunez, Ryan Dorr, Sam Okunola, all good posers. Kendall Richmond, who we've had on the show.
Yeah.
Classic physique NPC guy. Really beautiful posing. Yeah. Do you guys have anyone in mind?
Nope.
Nope. Okay. Oh God, I just skipped over a question from someone named Nemantha.
You got time.
Sorry, Nemantha. Give me a second. And guys, sorry for the 720p that we're apparently at.
If that.
If that, like we look like pixels right now. Shit. I got to go back up to her question. Here we go.
We're pixelated.
A little bit. It's we switched to potatoes instead of cameras.
Guys,
My bad.
trust us, we have some amazing cameras here, but for some reason, YouTube's like, fuck that. So we'll fix it next time. Okay, are you familiar with, are you familiar with the term avoidance coping? Could the fascia create triggers that are reinforced by avoiding the movement/range of motion, causing greater phantom pain signals to the nervous system? Okay,
Can you translate that one for me?
Okay,
Nsima?
so avoidance coping. The fascia create triggers that are reinforced. Okay, so like potentially tightening a fascia because someone is like, maybe there's a place that's painful. Let's say that the shoulder's painful. So the fascia in that area tightens to make the person avoid moving that area as much. I believe that that's kind of how it makes sense to me. I've never heard like that. That kind of makes sense though.
Makes a lot of sense.
With where you see a lot of people that are bound up,
Right.
you know?
I think it's hard to have it's hard to see your blind spots. That's why they're blind spots. And so when something hurts, you're going to start to not move in certain ways. And even before there's like a signal of pain, even before there's like a real problem, you will probably just avoid it without even knowing it. Supposedly, I mean, there's a lot of fake news that comes out of this, but like supposedly the Russian lifters and the coaches used to test their lifters by asking them to get up, and they would say, lay on the ground, and they'd watch them lay on the ground, and they'd watch them get up, and they thought the drill was to see how fast they could get up. They weren't sure what they were being tested on. But then the coaches would be like, nope, you're not ready to come back. You're still injured. Because they could tell by the way the guy got himself to the ground, which arm he used, which hand he used. Did he use his bad wrist at all? Did he avoid his bad wrist? Did he roll the other way? How was his knees? How was his back, and so forth? And so I think there's a lot of things that we avoid that we don't. It's for someone that's older. They might not really bend over as much anymore. They might not like get stuff off the ground. Like it might be harder for them to get stuff up off the ground. And so those things are like super obvious. Or you may notice that even if you're in your 30s or 40s, it's different bending down to the ground than it was when you were 10,
Yeah.
It's just different. It's like it can get more difficult. And over time, people start to avoid that. And then things start to sort of calcify. Not necessarily all the time, but things can tend to tighten up, and you're going to avoid it. But there's a lot of times they're more like blind spots. It's almost like with your eyes. I don't think we really realized the damage that the phone was doing to our eyes. I still don't know if we fully understand what the phone has done, but the phone doesn't necessarily have technology in it that's like burning a hole in our eyeballs. It's just that our reference range for sight is so close all the time.
Yeah.
And our the different variations of what the eyeball really needs is not getting tested enough. And so therefore we're seeing people have a decline in their eyesight sooner. And we're seeing declines in other areas in movement too. People aren't walking as much. I just heard recently somebody was saying that people move 14 times less than we used to move, like 400 or 500 years ago. I don't know how they come up with some of these stats and information, but if we move a lot less, and we're not moving dynamically, and we're not moving in some of the planes that we used to, then you're going to lose it. I mean, they say use it or lose it, right? But I think that when you go throughout your normal day, it's your normal day. And so you don't see what you're not doing any longer. You don't really know that you're avoiding certain things, even though you are. They're not obvious. Like if I got injured, if I tore my hamstring or something, and I was kind of limping around, well, it'd be real obvious to me and everybody else that like bending down to pick something up is not in the cards for maybe 2-3 weeks.
Yeah.
And I would recognize that. And then when I'm able to do that again, I would probably work on that to make sure that range of motion is good. But there's things that just slowly but surely, you're not twisting as much anymore. You're not twisting dynamically because when's the last time you're through anything? You're not running fast because when's the last time you sprinted? You're not jumping high because when's the last time you tested out trying to jump for something?
Yeah.
Even someone throws a football at you and you kind of catch it and you're like, that was weird. My hands like crossed over oddly. Like I didn't catch that very fluently. It's because you haven't caught a ball in a really long time.
Yeah. And everything works together. The math, it's actually pretty interesting. I remember like when I was focused on powerlifting, when I was in my early 20s, I was focused on just like lifting heavier. I'd always have like a level of lower back pain. And when I would go to pick something off the ground, I would always like squat down to it. I would never literally just bend with my lower back exclusively to the ground. First off, because in the strength community, you know, people are very anti-bend. You know, you don't pick things up like that. You straight back, hip hinge down to the ground and pick it up. So I'd always have tightness and I'd always have a little bit of pain in the lower back and discomfort. Over time doing jiu-jitsu, I did notice that I would avoid positions of deep flexion just because I wasn't that comfortable with that, because within lifting, I avoided that so much. So when I started to actually venture into that, I had to do a lot of myofascial release for my back, for a lot of other areas, hips, etc., because there was a lot of tightness there. And then when I did that release, I had to go out of my way to start moving in ways that I wasn't moving in before. So I purposefully try to pick things up in an unsafe way. It's not unsafe to bend down to the ground and pick something up, but I purposefully don't hip hinge when I pick things up now. I really try to just bend down explosively to the ground so that my body's like, this is safe, because there shouldn't be anything unsafe generally if your body's healthy of like bending and picking something up. But if you've been doing something in a certain way for a long period of time, like you mentioned, your body will naturally avoid that. So now I really do try to pay attention to figure out, what don't I know about my body? What types of movements cause me like, ooh, why is it that when I go like that, that's painful or that hurts? There has to be a weakness there. Why is it when I bend in this way that hurts? There's probably something going on there. And by figuring that out, that's how now at 31, I know I'm still young, but I don't have any of the pain that I had in my 20s. I move way better than I did in my 20s, right? And I have way more movement ability too. And it's just because of like a lot of the things that we've been learning, myofascial release, different types of moving, and also realizing that there's really not really many unsafe ways to move. Your body just isn't necessarily ready for it yet. And you got to regress yourself and progress yourself into it. All right.
Amen.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Do you guys want to take, how many more questions do you guys want to take? There's a lot more, but how much time you guys got?
I got all the time you need.
Got all the time you need?
Yeah, a few more questions.
A few more
Sounds good.
questions? Okay.
I was going to say, just kind of on the same topic, we talk about myofascial release all the time, but people should really look into it. Look into doing some voodoo floss. Nsima's messing around with wrapping his wrist. I think that when it comes to like myofascial release, you wouldn't really think of that as being any sort of workout, or you wouldn't really think of that. You would just think of it as like more recovery. But I actually do think that there's some working out in there, because let's say that I'm trying to like release my quad. I'll go face down on the ground. I'll get on some sort of ball that's hard or soft, depending on how injured the leg is or how hard the area is, and I'll try to dig in there. But what I'll do after that is I'll flex the quad. So you flex the quad to resist against it, especially if it hurts. If it hurts, you actually want to resist against it for just a moment, and then you're going to relax the quad. And what's going to happen is over time, you'll be able to get into that area, you'll be able to get different angles, and you'll be able to release some of those tissues. So it kind of acts as a workout, and you actually want to not only flex the quad and relax the quad, but you also, as Nsima was talking about with the neck, you want to actually flex the hamstring, because the hamstring is the opposite muscle to the quad. And when you flex your hamstring, that's going to allow you to actually now stretch the quad. So it's an actual workout, you know, and you might think like, oh man, like I'm kind of banged up today, I'm just going to do this myofascial release stuff. That's actually like a workout. It actually can be pretty productive. And actually when you're done, you'll feel amazing. And, you know, to make it a little bit more of a workout, maybe you want to pump some blood into the area. So again, I can't sell people on the sled enough. Like, use that damn sled, get a good pump from the sled, pull it forward, pull it backwards, row it, bench it, whatever different ways you can do with the sled. It's incredible.
There we go. Dom Sornberger, will Nsima ever drop a new Smooth Panther routine? No, but I have a jiu-jitsu program coming out very soon. Hey. So yeah, be on the lookout for that. It's going to be a good one. Jay Strong, how do you get Discord? It's an app. Yeah, Google Discord, D-I-S-C-O-R-D. You can also download it on the App Store or on Android, and you can download it on your desktop. And then you can join our Power Project Discord. Link is in our description. So join our Discord.
How do you get it on your phone, Nsima?
By downloading the app, right? For some reason, Discord's been fucking up on my phone. I think it's a sign-in thing, but I've been on Discord on my computer, so apologies. Okay. Jeremy Avila, love you guys. Lisa Johnson,
Hey, Jeremy.
at what body fat should you start cutting as a female? I'm not sure if I should bulk or cut first. Wondering if my body fat is already too high to bulk. Okay.
This would
Lisa.
really depend on if you're like trying to do like a bodybuilding show or something, right?
Yeah, like Lisa, if your body fat isn't way too high, so I mean probably like maybe 20. If your body fat's at around 25% or 22 to 25%, and if you're new to lifting, I would say don't worry too much about bulking or cutting. And if you're comfortable with your body fat right now, do something called a recomp. Don't try to see too much gain on the scale. Don't try to see too much loss on the scale. One thing that fucks people up with recomping is that it's a slow. It visually seems slow because you're not seeing the weight go down. But if you get better in the gym, you're consistently resistance training. You're getting in walks. You're eating well, and your body weight's staying the same. You'll notice that whatever your weight is right now, Lisa, in 6 months, if it's the same but you've been lifting and you've been progressing, your body composition will be massively different. You're probably going to see that your waist measurements. This is where it's good to take measurements. Your waist measurements have gone down, while maybe your quad measurements may have also gone down if that's where you hold extra body fat. But certain areas have gone down. Your clothes fit differently, but you're the same exact weight. I like recomping for people that are new and their body fat isn't too high, just because like now you're not forced to cut, which you'll probably feel hungry. You'll probably see drops in the gym. You won't feel as good training. And if you bulk too much, you might gain too much body fat and you might just be intaking too much energy. But if you eat at around a maintenance caloric intake and you have enough protein, the scale isn't going too far up or too down every single week, 6 months, you'll be drastically different if you just focus on performance. And your body will change. You can take measurements. Measurements are a very good thing, and you could pay attention to how clothes fit, but just kind of don't fuck around with the scale for a while. If you're like maybe, between 20 and 25% body fat, that's all right.
Yeah, track your performance, pay attention to that a little bit more so than anything. Obviously, your diet needs to be, you need to have a good diet going, and a recomp is going to take a lot longer, than you just seeing like the scale go down. I think most of the time, I think a lot of times people feel like they're too fat. They feel like their body fat percentage is too fat. So it's really common for people to think that of themselves. But most of the time, I would say like, man, a large percentage of the time when somebody asks me a question about whether they should lose fat, gain muscle, whether they should bulk or cut, more often than not, the thought that person has in their head doesn't sound right to me. Like it almost sounds like the opposite. Someone that's like, someone who's skinny fat, who's like, man, I got to lose like 15 pounds, and they kind of grab their belly or something. I don't know. Andrew's talked about this before. And it's like, I don't think our best bet is to really go after that body fat. You don't have a lot of it. And it's going to be really difficult. And we should attack it at some point, but a better way to attack it is probably just to have you focus on performance, focus on maybe even eating, not necessarily more, but eating in a way that's going to promote muscle mass and lifting in a way that's going to promote muscle mass. So more often than not, it's not necessarily, especially people that are already exercising.
Yeah.
It's not so much that they're overly fat. It's just, it'd be great if they added more muscle. And in something like a recomp, it allows you to do a little bit of both, because you're going to be adding muscle, and you might not necessarily be losing like a lot of fat at that moment, but you'll probably be losing some because it's probably what your body needs at the moment. Because let's just face it, most people that are already going to the gym and most people that care about this stuff, they're probably under eating quite often. They're probably not really, maybe not even under eating, but they're probably so caught up and so worried about their weight that it's very hard for them to get the results that they should be getting because they've been going to the gym for the last 2 years. So they're not able to really make the gym a multiplier of their metabolism because they're not feeding it what it actually needs to gain the muscle mass.
And Lisa, I'm not saying this is you necessarily, but Gabrielle Lyon's book, we were talking about that before this episode. She talks a lot about protein in there, but a lot of women tend to undereat protein. And again, this might not be you, so this might not be an issue, but try to pay attention to the amount of protein you're eating. Are you eating like close to a gram per pound? Some people say that's too much, right? But like, see like how much protein you're eating. Is it half your body weight that you're eating in protein right now? Because that could be something, that could be something that you'd want to increase because protein is satiating. And if you're eating enough protein, it's going to help you not to eat as much of the foods that some people tend to binge on because you're actually satiated now. So that can be an easy fix to being hungry all the time. Eating enough real protein. Protein shakes aren't bad, by the way. Protein shakes are great, but if a majority of your protein comes from protein shakes, it doesn't tend to satiate you as much. But they are awesome to have. So, yeah. Okay. Pronimal, Mike, ask your question in here because I'm not on Discord right now. Alex Goldwyn asked, I have a home gym with a rack bar and plates. Strength training is primarily my goal. Any suggestions on some pieces worth adding?
Maybe a kettlebell would be a good idea. It's got a rack, a bar, and some plates.
Yeah, kettlebell slant board. Get yourself a slant board. That'll allow you for different ways of squatting.
I even think there's, fucking sled is amazing. I even think there's like a kettlebell thing that you can get that it's like one piece, but it's different weights. Kind of like they make with the dumbbell with the sliding, whatever the hell, whatever company that is. But
there's a couple of them, yeah.
Yeah, there's some options there where you can get, more than one kettlebell for the money.
Okay, cool. Yeah, kettlebell, slant board. Those tib bar guys, they made a really good, because working your tibs makes a difference. So home gym guys makes different types of single leg tib bars, which aren't crazy expensive. But since you have plates, you'll be able to easily work your tips at home. And that's a very underserved muscle group.
Maybe a heavy bag. If you got some space for it. Go punch something, kick something a little bit.
Honestly, that's fun as fuck. But yeah. Mark, he said strength is his primary goal. Do you think there's anything else he should add?
It's nice to have some different barbells sometimes. So, maybe look into some of the bars that Chris Duffin has. Maybe he's got the Transformer bar. Like that's pretty awesome. That bar does a lot. So you can do a lot of different types of lower body movements with a bar like that. It just gives you a lot more options. Trying to think if there's, some other. A lot of things are like just cumbersome, like they take up a lot of space, take up a lot of room. And while it'd be nice to have some things, it's like not great to have like a leg press for like a home gym because it just takes up so much fucking space.
And by the way, guys, so right now I'm kind of cutting up the names, and what I'm going to do is for all the names of people who asked questions, I will put these names into a little thing. We'll pick out 3 or 4 of you guys. You got to make sure you're on the Discord, right? And when we call your name, you message us on Discord, message me on Discord, and we'll give you some goodies. Okay, so please just make sure you're on Discord. Who's Tom Selleck? Circa Magnum PI?
He's got a great mustache, Tom Selleck.
I don't know if I like that statement. Someone said I look like a black Tom Selleck, meaning he's not black. So you're saying I look like a white man?
No, he's saying
I look like a black version of a white man.
Of a very
handsome?
Yeah.
If he's handsome, I'll take it.
Yeah, during like 80s? Right?
70s, yeah.
70s, 80s.
Tom Selleck?
He was the man.
Yeah. He was the man in the 70s?
He was the man.
Hey, I'll fucking take that.
Yeah.
I'm a black Tom Selleck. Thank you, I guess.
Yeah, mustache.
Right? Is this
chest hair?
I think it's legit.
Okay.
Big hair.
Okay.
Lots of hair.
Let's see.
Like licking and rolling these papers.
I know. I had to change cameras because it was getting a little too erotic.
Sorry, guys. I got to get these names. Okay. Let's see. Still any plans on extra poopy version? Okay. Jesus Christ, people. Steak shake. A lot of people asking about steak shake.
Steak shake's good.
Okay. Oh, Jeremy Avila, who's a freak athlete in and of himself. Jumping or sprinting, which one is a better example of athleticism? I feel like he wants us to say jumping. I feel like he wants us to say jumping.
Yeah.
What do you guys think as I tear these things apart?
Man, that's a cool question. Man, there's just so much going on with sprinting. I would say sprinting. I think so. Yeah. Anyone can jump, but not anyone can like go out and do a full sprint.
That's funny. I was thinking the exact same thing, but the opposite.
Wait, you mean anyone can jump, but the like, because Jeremy Avila, for example, his vert is disgusting. So not everyone can jump high, but everyone can jump.
Yeah, almost anybody can produce enough force to do something that would be
Hell
called
off
a
the
jump.
ground. Okay.
Right?
Yes, this is true.
But most, I would say, not most, I would say a lot of people would really struggle to go do a full sprint right now
Oh yeah, that's true.
without fucking themselves. And there's just so much going on with the sprint. Like your arms and legs are moving around so differently. You know, you're bringing your knee quite a bit forward. The back foot is way back behind you. There's a lot of twisting and rotation, and there's a lot going on. There's there's like hardly anything going on with the jump. I mean, there can be if somebody's jumping like a maniac, but it's like, I don't know, bend down and just
Right.
and he just did it, you know.
So, but I wonder, so like if somebody can jump high, they can probably sprint. If somebody can sprint fast, does that automatically mean they can jump high?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool,
I mean,
then.
you can even like, there's been people that can like kind of diagnose about how fast you can run in like a 40 meter, or by looking at how high you can jump, or by seeing like how many pull-ups you can do, because it's a strength to weight ratio that's associated with sprinting. And so, yeah, normally if you can sprint, you can do a lot of other things.
Got it.
From Wild Pirate, this is a very good question. And guys, check out Jeremy Avila's page. You probably already know who he is, but he's super strong and he is a ridiculous athlete. Wild Pirate. Hello, I'm from the frozen north of Wyoming. I'm a plow truck driver and can be plowing snow 12 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Plowing.
Yeah, I knew someone was going to get that one. How can I help my body from falling apart over the winter? Okay.
I gotta say, first of all, I'm jealous that this guy's out there plowing so much, 7 days a week.
Here we fucking go.
Congratulations to him. Man, it's hard. It's hard to, when you got real work, you got a real job. It's hard to get the work in that you need. So, I would say that most of the time when people start to work a lot, especially like somebody that's working like that, I know he's saying it snows all the time, but like sometimes there's some sort of like little breaks, and anytime there's like a little tiny break, you have to take advantage of that and you have to go get your exercise in. Probably the easiest thing in the world would be to just stay inside and stay warm, have some hot chocolate and be by the fire. But on those days, it's probably the most important to have some sort of schedule with a workout.
Yeah, if you can, if you're in your car for an hour, or your truck plowing snow, can you get out and like just move around a little bit? Is there maybe anything? Could you keep something in your truck so you could? I have kettlebell in my trunk, right? I don't know how much truck space you have, but potentially, could you keep a kettlebell in your passenger side seat? And if there's a moment where you can get out of the car, there's a bunch of stuff you can do with the bell. You could do swings, you could lift it over your shoulder, you could do squats. I know it may sound ridiculous, but with the nature of what you do have to go out of your way to get a little bit of extra work and a little bit of extra movement in. And it might seem weird, but it is necessary in your position, right? And I don't even want to say it's weird. Just make it normal, right? You're going to be the only plow truck guy that gets out of his car with a kettlebell or whatever implement you like and does a little bit of stuff for 5 minutes before he gets back in and plows more snow.
It's a great point. And if that feels too awkward for you, then see if you can get that done first thing in the morning. So you can wake up and so, okay, you're going to be robbing yourself of a little bit of sleep. But if we're talking about you getting an extra 20 minutes of exercise in, that should technically make you feel better.
Oh, yeah.
It might not, but it should technically make you feel better. And even if it doesn't necessarily energize you from a mental perspective, it should be helpful.
Mm-hmm. Okay, good. So got that from YO Pirate. Hamco, what's your thoughts on semen retention?
No nut November.
Semen retention. Yo.
I don't know. I don't have any thoughts on it. I don't think. I mean, I don't know if I believe. I don't know if I believe in that. I've heard people talk about it before. I mean, some of it makes sense. Like you hear of these like MMA fighters, and they go to like their camp, and they don't have their lady with them and stuff like that. But they're probably still getting that semen out somehow.
Yeah. Whether it's your hand or whether it's a wet dream, it's coming out somehow. I used to, like, especially when I was like younger, I got into like the no-fap stuff. I learned about semen retention. I was like, I'm a warrior. You know, like holding that shit in. I do think that if you are someone who was like me, who was addicted to porn, who was like always trying to get their nut off because they were horny as shit. I'm still horny as shit, but like, it would be good to practice some holding back, to practice not watching porn for a good period of time. And I know I've talked about the porn stuff before, but if you're someone who, I don't necessarily think porn is evil. I think it does have a big detriment, but if you're not someone who's addicted to it, it's not messing up your life. You're not having to feel like you have to watch porn every day, multiple times a day. That might not be an issue for you. So don't get scared about that shit. But if you're someone who was like me, who started from a young age, who used it as a cope, right? Some semen retention and some not watching porn for a long period of time so it stops being an addiction is a very good idea. So you need to assess yourself and be like, am I addicted? Can I go without porn for a good period of time? If so, you're good. But if you're someone who finds that you are trying to nut a little bit too much, a little bit too often, could be idea just to like stop for a bit.
Just chill.
Just chill.
Just a quick fast.
Yeah. Do fast for a while.
Yeah.
Fast for a while.
Yeah. I wonder if there is anything like in the human body that's like so like, you know, when we don't catch an animal, when we're hunting for an animal, we can fast for a kind of a long time. So I wonder if we don't get a nut off, if our body's like, hey, you got to plant your seed somewhere soon. And I don't, like, who knows, maybe that do they believe that like that can like enhance like your strength and stuff, and you like become a stronger human to go attract somebody?
I think that's some of the thought process behind it. I think is within that. I do think that they believe also with people that are like getting to be older that it's not great for you to do that. That you need to like get your shit out. Supposedly not great for your prostate, but I don't know.
I'm pretty old.
From experience, like again, like there was a period of time where I was just like, I had to stop because I was just like, I was like nothing too much, you know what I mean? But the thing is like when you're someone who is doing that shit way too much, when you stop doing it, you will feel magical effects, more energy, more drive. I want to go talk some. You get more energy because you're not constantly nutting. Like it's that simple. It's not magic. It's just like
sexual energy is expensive.
Sexual energy is very expensive.
Barely keep the lights on over there.
Yeah. So like again, you got to assess yourself as an individual. You got to be honest with yourself because in these situations, it's hard to be honest with yourself. You want to tell yourself you don't have a problem when you actually do. And
I ain't got a problem.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good. Nutting 3 times a day with my own hand. I'm good. And you got a problem, bro. You know what I mean? So assess yourself and you'll see.
Can't think of anything else.
Yeah.
Power Project Family, we talk about beef and meat all the time on the podcast. That's why we partnered with Certified Piedmontese Beef. But did you know this? That 85% of all grass-fed, grass-finished beef in the United States is imported from other countries? 85%.
Damn.
But Certified Piedmontese is made in the U.S. of A.
America.
Fuck yeah. So go out and get some of the best tasting, some of the leanest, some of the best beef from Piedmontese. Andrew, how can they get it?
Absolutely. So you guys can head over to cpbeef.com and at checkout enter promo code POWER to save 25% off your entire order. And if your order is $150 or more, you get free 2-day shipping. Again, cpbeef.com. Links to them down in the description as well as the podcast show notes.
Fuck yeah.
All right, guys. Oh, someone said cold plunge nukes my anxiety. We'll take one more or two more questions.
Whatever.
2 more sounds good.
2 more questions? Okay. All right, let's see. What is going on in this chat? As long as she retains it in her mouth, who cares? It's a benefit. What's going?
I don't know.
I don't. Oh, well, I don't know if it has to do with semen.
Things are getting crazy.
Yeah, people
I like
going-
where it's going.
The chat's weird. I love you guys. Okay, let's see. Mark cheers me up. God bless you all. Aw. That's from subscriber something. Okay. Damn. All right. Finding. Okay, Mark Bell, your thoughts on people who have weird... I love this. Okay, Mark Bell from King Della Clark. Your thoughts on people who have weird fetishes? Let's say it starts with men viewing videos of women's backsides, then devolves into farts
Oh.
and scat.
Oh, no.
I didn't... What are your thoughts?
This guy looking at my search history.
Yo, I learned that the new Safari on Apple is more private. So if you have an issue, use Safari. Okay. Wow, dude. Why did you ask this question? But what are your thoughts? Mark, he asked you specifically. What?
That's amazing.
That's so weird.
Hey, there's a lot of ways for people to make money these days, and I'm all for it. And Jason Kalipa, he started up his foot fetish page. I don't know, man. I think people can get into all kinds of different stuff. Who knows? What do they say? Different strokes for different folks, right? Who knows how people get into some of these things? Sitting there watching people fart and getting excited about it. I don't know.
Maybe just too much of whatever you were previously watching, and take it back to No Nut November.
Yeah, now you can't get satisfied from like the basics.
Right. Yeah.
You need something fucking completely out of left field.
Okay.
I would say that I would say that I wouldn't even call those people weird, because like he did say, he used the word weird, and I just have learned like that I'm weird too. Like we're all kind of weird. Everyone's got like weird quirks, weird things that we do, weird things that we say. So people do have odd behaviors, but they're only odd behaviors to people that aren't recognizing their own odd behaviors, I think.
Dude, no, that's true. That's true. Some things you think are weird, not that weird. Some people are into feet. I don't think that's weird. I mean, I'm not into feet like that. Some would think I am, but it's not weird. Just being a little bit into feet.
Into something different.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, I'm going to go to the Discord because Sloan's Abroad, who's been a part of the Discord and the community for a long ass time, apparently asked an important question that the chat's telling me to go find. So give me a second because I need to find her question.
Yeah, copy and paste that over.
Here we go. Wow. Whoa.
Whoa.
All right, from Sloan's Abroad. I've been off here for a while. I'd love some advice. I've been off carnivore for a while. Like I was on my A game during 75 hard, lost a ton of weight, solid carnivore. I was rocking it. My 2-month break turned into a 2-month binge. Saturday, I went fucking nuts on some really dense mint chocolate chip cake and a friend brought over. That night, started having pinprick pain in the middle of my chest, ignored it. Next morning, was an idiot, had another slice of cake because FML. Sunday evening, in the middle of traffic, had horrible chest pricking pain, hyperventilating, felt like shit, got home, went to bed, woke up in the middle of the night, faint, shaking. Next day, same deal, faint, shaking, couldn't calm down, finally got my shit together on Tuesday and started eating food. Couldn't eat, and hydrating with electrolytes. Wednesday, went to the doc. EKG came back normal. Going for some simple blood tests tomorrow. It's Friday here in Korea. They want me to do an echo and Holster test the following week. Blood sugars are normal. Fasting is 77. After eating an all-meat meal, it's 101. So awesome. Really. You guys, I know this is the internet and asking for medical advice is dumb online, but as an American overseas with like no help and a mom of 4, I'm scared. I know the Power Project community is awesome and I've learned so much on here over the past year. I've healed my costochondritis through the advice here. Congratulations on that. She's awesome. She's done a lot, but yeah. Wow. That's a lot. I wonder if there's an update on how she's doing now.
Well, it's great that she went to a doctor.
Mm-hmm.
That's really cool. And might want to just try to find out more information about like panic attacks. I don't know what kind of doctor that you saw, but it sounds like they're testing like your heart and things like that, which is great because there could be an issue there. But to me, it just sounds more like this sounds more like a panic attack. So I would research that. I would try to look into information on that. And then also I would start to think about some different things that are going on in your life. You know, it sounds like you were on a diet and you were on a regimen, you were on a schedule, you had everything going in a particular direction. You probably felt really good about that. And then when that wasn't happening for you any longer, you probably felt really bad about it. But I wonder if there's some other stuff in your life where that might be chaotic, that you're having a hard time controlling as well. And maybe that is, I would imagine that's probably what's weighing on you so much, rather than it just being, it's not just your food and those things. It's probably a multitude of things. And I think that you got to try to find somebody that can help you out on a different level than just somebody checking your heart. Although that is a great place to start.
Mm-hmm. It's great that you went to a doctor. You did 75 hard. You got a lot of good results, and then you had a 2-month period where things kind of went haywire. Just get back to a level of consistency that you can stay consistent with, because potentially, 75 hard. What is 75 hard specifically? What are you doing?
75 hard. Probably the toughest thing of it is you're working out twice a day.
There we go.
And I think for some people, that could kind of maybe develop a little like obsessive compulsive disorder kind of around that, like trying to always exercise. And if you don't exercise, then you feel bad. And if you only exercised one time a day, then you feel bad about that. Mm-hmm. But maybe you can like reestablish what you think of exercise. We talk a lot here on the show about microdosing your exercise, and maybe exercise for a day could be a ride on a bike. Maybe an exercise for a day could be a walk. Maybe an exercise for a day could be lifting. And maybe you only do these things a couple of times a week, so that way it's not so stressful. Because we have to remember that everything is a stressor. Even the fact that you're no longer doing 75 hard is a stressor. When you're doing 75 hard, that's a stressor as well. So you have to be careful on how we take on these stresses and how much of it we take on at a given time. And it sounds to me like you just really need to give yourself some slack. Like just, like I know that you have given yourself some slack and that you feel like you went off the deep end, but be kinder to yourself. Think about like, what's the advice you would give to your best friend? What's the advice you would give to your mom if she came to you and told you that she's having some of these things happen? You would probably be, kind and gentle and say, hey, well, just like Nsima was pointing out, be great if you can get back. I know you really liked doing a lot of those activities. What are the things that you liked about 75 hard? What are the things you liked about, did they mention they were doing carnivore diet?
She was doing the carnivore diet during 75 hard. Yeah, so solid carnivore.
Yeah, so what are the things that you enjoyed about those things? Well, now let's do 75 soft, Now let's do like, instead of being like fully on board with carnivore, do like a mini version of it. Like why does it have to be like, do you have to be so attached to it? Does it have to be a 10 out of 10 every day? And then it means nothing to you. Like it doesn't matter anymore. It's, that's not the way that it works. If you have 75% compliance, you'll get a lot of the results that you're looking for, and you'll most likely feel a lot better.
And Sloan, this episode isn't out yet, but we were talking a little bit about like some shit that's happened during Halloween. And, you mentioned the cake that your friend brought and you ate a lot of it, right? Well, mint chocolate shit.
Sounds good.
You guys are mint chocolate fans?
I'm not a mint person, but
me neither.
I know some people like it.
Yeah, that's my favorite ice cream.
You? I ain't gonna judge you. I love you.
There's
and
a good
Sloan
texture,
is great too, so
and then the
judge
chocolate
you all,
hits. It's green.
Why are you trying to have toothpaste with your dessert?
That's how I always say.
I know you guys say that. Yeah, and you're not wrong. I don't know. It's just really good. It's fantastic.
Chat, let us know what the fuck you think about mint chocolate. What the fuck?
But like candy canes, that's a different kind of mint. Fuck that one. I don't like that.
Oddly enough, I think yeah. Well, so this is what I was about to say. Like we bought
candy canes, peppermint.
Peppermint. There you go. Yeah. I don't
It's
like
a little
that.
different.
I don't want that one.
We purchased some candy for the kids for Halloween. We purchased it in advance, and it was in the house. And I had the rule of thumb for me is just don't buy this shit because you will eat it, Nsima. That's why I just don't keep it in the house because I know I'm a fucking eat it. That's just me, right? So I bought it with the full intention of the kids getting all of the candy. But the first day I had 1, the second day I had 3, the third day I had 6, and then like the night before Halloween I ate 6 Butterfingers and like 6 or 7 Babe Ruths. I had pain for the next 2 days. My foot hurt. I had some weird fucking
Got
weird. Yeah, like dog, I was not feeling good. I did feel some faster heartbeats and shit. I was just like, oh God, this is why I don't do this to myself. But Sloan, like if your blood work came back okay, it might just be the case that you just had a bad binge and it's just affecting you negatively. Like a high amount of sugar, especially for people that don't eat that often, it can cause weird shit where things just seem kind of haywire. I had headaches, dog. I don't get headaches, but I had headaches after never getting headaches for years. It's
crazy.
Right? So the thing is like, first off, you ate the shit. All right. Just try to figure out a way that you don't have too much of this stuff too often. Because maybe a little bit every now and then is okay. But I don't keep that shit in my house because I'm not adult enough to handle it in the house. And I know I'm going to eat it. So just figure that out. And then like Mark said, just kind of, soften it up on yourself. Try to get back into something you can do for a long period of time and stay consistent with where it's not like, oh, I'm going to fail on my diet today. You know what I mean? Don't make it so rigid. But
people can get help online too, right? Like I've Rogan and some of the other people promote. You can get like a psychologist or something like that.
Like
right?
telemedicine type stuff.
Do you know the names of those? Nsima, by any chance?
BetterHelp?
Yeah,
there's BetterHelp.
Yeah, BetterHelp. Something like that might be a good idea. Hopefully, you're not feeling like offended that I mentioned something like that to you. But just having somebody that has nothing to do with nothing that you can ask questions to and you can talk to them about what's going on in your life. Because like I said, I think there's probably more things going on. Things are probably feeling hectic. You're probably feeling overwhelmed. And I think it would be amazing if you could just dump all that on somebody. It would probably be really helpful for you.
All right. Yeah. Sloan, thanks for that question. Hope you're doing well. Give us an update in the Discord. And everyone here, hit up our Discord in the description below because we're going to give away some protein. We're going to give away some Viore clothing stuff, right? We'll get a gift card from them and we'll give some of that. And we'll give away some Vivo Barefoot shoes. Check out these fucking boots, dog. Yeah.
Hey.
So, Mark, I need you to
black
pick.
ones too.
Oh, no, these ones. I got the black ones at home, but these are the dark brown babies, man.
What? I still like the other ones, but those are sick too.
Slick.
Anything on a gum sole is fuck. That's so nice.
Dude, they're so
Do
comfy.
you make gray for Andrew?
Gray boots.
I don't think they do.
They make black boots, though.
So that's what I'm getting.
See who we got?
No, actually, I like the tan ones.
The tan ones are nice.
What do we got
Remind me
here?
of Tim's.
Okay, so the first person is Alec Godwin. Message me on the Discord and get you some goodies. Okay? All right. Now, number 2.
I think the one guy we already told him we're going to get him protein, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay, which one was he?
Try to
Though?
remember
It
who
was
else
that
was-
one guy.
All right, the guy who we told we were going to give you protein. He
That
was
guy.
earlier in the chat. I think it was maybe Bruce Wilkie.
I think maybe.
Was it Bruce
I
Wilkie?
couldn't tell you.
I'll pick out another one.
Well, whoever we told you're getting protein, message me on Discord. Send me a
Send it
direct
to
message.
more than one person if we need.
We
to.
can send it to more than one person.
What
Who's
do we
next? We got our plower. Our plower, YO Pirate. You got to message me on the Discord. We can get you some goodies. Got to message me on Discord. Or like the last guy, he didn't get his 8 sleep mattress. Quantum Cloud. Sorry, bro. His mattress went to somebody else.
How much shit we
I
giving
know. I
away
was
here?
like, wait a second.
All right.
Can I get something? Shit.
Ryan Stack. Message us on the Discord. All right. 3's good. 3's
It's
good.
great.
3's good. All
Can
right.
you give away Andrew's glasses? Andrew?
I do need some new glasses.
Oh, shit.
yeah.
Let me say these names again. Ryan Stack, join Discord, message me directly. Alec Godwin, join Discord, message me directly. And our plowing friend, Wild Pirate, join Discord, message me directly.
Plowing
We'll get you
I
some
could really use that
good stuff.
plowing guy. I really could. Up in Tahoe.
Right,
the
yeah.
Snow comes in a lot.
Up in your house in Tahoe,
Yeah.
where
Where were
you
you guys?
go there alone without your wife sometimes.
Yeah, where were you
Get the fireplace going. Make it real dark.
It's weird.
warm,
You guys acted strange when I mentioned that. That's awesome.
plowing people left and right.
Oh my God, that's so funny.
Thanks for joining in on the Q&A. We're going to be doing this hopefully a couple times a month, and hopefully we can do it more regularly. Andrew will check on our YouTube tower antenna thing.
It must have got loose. My bad, y'all.
Gotta fix that thing.
I'll figure it out.
Piece of shit.
Yeah.
Strength is never weakness. Weakness is never strength. Catch you guys later. Bye.
Hi there. I know you guys like this video, so check this one out.